Is Prince Andrew innocent? Well, I did a search online, just on Yahoo, with the words, is Prince Andrew innocent? And this is what I got. First headline, Prince Andrew's train wreck interview did nothing but raise more questions about Epstein. So they seem kind of skeptical. Prince Andrew stayed in Jeffrey Epstein's New York City party mansion despite sex offender conviction because it was, quote, convenient. That makes sense. And here on Twitter we have, Prince Andrew, I don't know why I've collected that title because I have never really partied. And then he posts some pictures. And this, yeah, he does look, well, here that's a cheek kiss. Oh, that's, wow. Yeah, okay. Good day, YouTubers. Time for a spot of royalty. Is Prince Andrew innocent? Prince Andrew, the other day, has very famously gone on the BBC and done a 48-minute interview. Every time I post a video on Andrew or Epstein, it gets demonetized, but I have to cover this. This is Ghislaine Maxwell, this is Virginia Roberts, this is Prince Andrew. He says he doesn't even know Virginia Roberts, Virginia Maxwell. Virginia Roberts. He says he doesn't even know Virginia Roberts. Okay, he didn't say, I did not have sex with that woman. That's a much better statement. He said, I don't even know her. Okay, and so literally people just need to prove that he was in the same place at the same time. I find to prove that they knew each other. And according to Maxwell, to Roberts, she was in London and in New York and Epstein's Island with him. And at Epstein's Island, she had sex with him in London, New York, and Epstein's Island. And in Epstein's Island, it was an orgy. Okay, which is the kind of thing that Epstein does. Because Epstein was not just some random perv. He was a CIA, KGB, Mossad operative. And his whole purpose in life was to create extortion and blackmail. And film it and tape it. And so the crazier it was, you know, human sacrifice, etc., he's only going to do pedophilia, only going to do crazy, illegal things. So this picture is interesting. If you notice, okay, she's doing hover hands. She's not actually touching herself. They're not actually touching. Their bodies are not actually touching. Her hand is back here, but their bodies are not actually touching. There's space between them. She's only giving him a little shoulder, and her hips are square or turned away from him. So there's no warmth here. This woman, Ghislaine Maxwell, she's like pushing her into him. He's pushing. It's kind of like this is hover hands. There's no actual emotional connection here. You can see it. I find that interesting. This is Andrew after Epstein's conviction, where he did the 6 months or 18 months work release, where he only had to sleep in prison, and he continued. This is after that. And the reason is because he was a CIA operative. That's what he was billed as, and that's why he got such a light sentence. Because he was working for the government. And he wasn't considered like a real perv. He was considered a CIA operative. Here's Andrew and Marcus Anderson on a boat in Phuket, Thailand, with topless ladies, topless young girls. So let's explore. Is Prince Andrew innocent? And so the first spread I'll throw is, was Andrew's BBC interview a mistake? Because a lot of people are saying it's a mistake. Was it a win? I mean, he could have just been quiet. He could have just kept his mouth shut instead of, proclaiming his innocence. Which I don't know if a lot of people believe that he is actually innocent. Okay? People may believe that he is not guilty. Okay, but innocent and not guilty are maybe different shades. Okay, so it may be believable that he did not have sex with Virginia Maxwell, but it's probably not believable that he didn't know her at all, because they just simply need to be placed in the same place at the same time, and they will be. So, was Andrew's BBC interview a mistake? You know, did he consult Sunshine Sachs, and Meghan is like, oh, I've got the best PR team. I know exactly, you know, who you should talk to, and just take their advice. You know, did he get his advice from Sunshine Sachs? Because they seem to be giving such excellent advice to Meghan and Harry at this point. Okay, so was this a win or a lose for Andrew, this BBC interview? Okay, coffin, secrets, reacting to circumstances, scapegoat, blame, bad reputation, secrets and a bad reputation, reacting to the secrets and his bad reputation. Just step by step over his whole lifetime, deeply rooted over his whole lifetime, relationships, karmic relationships, and working together. 9, 3 hearts. He's just trying to put a good face on it and reestablish his reputation as a royal. Okay, as a royal, as a dignified person, and not as somebody directly associated with Epstein. So he's reacting to all of this whispering and the bad reputation. He was trying to out the secrets and say, oh, there's nothing, I have nothing to hide. That's what he was trying to do. Yeah, that's what he was trying to do. So, but the basis of this is scapegoat, a bad reputation. Let's look at Andrew and Virginia Maxwell. Virginia Roberts. Andrew says he doesn't know Virginia Roberts. Okay, so let's just look. Does Andrew know, what's Andrew's relationship to Virginia Roberts? Let's see what the cards want to tell us. Andrew, because Andrew's over here. And Roberts. Oh dear. Wow. She got the 10 spades. Andrew. All right, Andrew and Virginia Roberts. All right, player. Player is a very sexual card. Wants one thing, goes right after it. Flirtation and sex, sex and sex. He came out to the crossroads for sex. 8 and 11, 19, 5, 2 5s, both 5 clubs. He came out to the crossroads for sex. There's no emotion here. It's just titillation, like an addiction. Okay, the player is, player is, playing around, having sexual liaisons, etc. What's going on over here with Roberts? Earthquake, home, roadblock. Okay, so he says he doesn't know her. Home. These are the people they know each other. These are the people in your environment, people close in your environment. Home. Devastation, blocked, 9, also the 5 clubs. She is devastated by what happened and what she did and what was done to her, and she's emotionally devastated by it. By her past. She's emotionally devastated by it. Okay, worst possible result. And here in the underneath, we have broken chalice and handcuffs. They were connected, but now that connection is broken, ace of spades. And, she looks back on it and she has nothing but regret. For him, it was just sex and titillation. So they did know each other. And she is devastated by what happened. She's devastated by what happened between them. Okay, now Andrew says this pic is a Photoshop. His fingers are fatter. He has fatter fingers than this. They're not actually touching. Their bodies are not actually touching. This hand is interesting, you know. That hand, that's kind of an unconscious thing, but the hand is interesting. They're emotionally, they're separated. Only his hand is touching her. Their bodies are not touching each other. She's giving him the shoulder. Her hips are square or slightly turned away from him. Her top is turned slightly into him, but they're not touching. It's an odd photo. It's a hover hands photo. It's a photo that lacks intimacy, lacks any kind of emotional intimacy. And here's this, you know, Ghislaine Maxwell. She's the madam. She's pushing her into her. She's obviously taking a more senior position over this younger girl. So is this famous pic a Photoshop, a fake, to frame Andrew? Okay, because the fingers, they're not touching. You can overlay him. You can overlay his body there. You know, if there was another man there, there's a weird shadow here on his head. Is this a Photoshop to frame Andrew, as he says? Pick a Photoshop. Devil. Interesting. All right, so devil, many hands, and scourge. 9 and 11, 5 spades. Roadblock, mustard seed. This is the picture. This is the message. Many hands involved. A lot of work and deception and lying and evil and 5 spades. 5s are change cards. 5 spades blocked and a devil. This may be a Photoshop. That's interesting because he has a weird white line around his butt here. And if you don't do certain things, that's more advanced stuff. And he has a weird shadow on his face here. He has a weird shadow on his face. He has a weird white line here in his back and his bottom. That's odd. This says this could be a Photoshop. That's so odd. I'm just going to have to read the cards straight. I did not believe this is a Photoshop, but they're not touching. It's an odd photo. And the more I look at it, the more odd it looks to me. She looks like she's part of this photo. Okay, I don't see anything. I don't see any weird shadows on her. He says his hands are weird. But I do see there's an odd shadow here. There's white here. That's just odd. That would not appear on a regular photo. And this shadow around his face is odd. This is saying to me that this is a Photoshop, which is very strange. Okay, devil. Many people are involved. So lying, it's a lie. This message is a lie. This photo is faked. It's a conflict, and something is wrong with this photo. Something is very wrong with this photo. So that's interesting. That's a big deal. If this photo is faked, if it's a Photoshop, that's a really big deal. So the cards here are saying that this photo, something is really wrong with this photo. There's a big lie associated with this photo. A very, very big lie associated with this photo. Was Prince Andrew drugged without his knowledge so Epstein could put him in compromising positions for later blackmail? Okay, because that's what Epstein was. He's not just some random perv. He's a CIA operative. Okay, KGB, Mossad. He's working for these intelligence services, and he was very cold and heartless about how he, got extortion on these people and the things that he would do. I there's like a whole satanic compound that he ran, and they would chain people up and torture them and do human sacrifice. I mean, you got to be pretty cold-hearted to do that. And that's the kind of stuff he did. So was Prince Andrew drugged without his knowledge so that Epstein could put him in compromising positions and film him, etc.? Was Andrew drugged without his knowledge? Oh boy. So was Andrew drugged without his knowledge? Ruler's son exposes all high tower official and exposes all 13, 22, 23, 6 clubs because of the deep-rooted relationship. The ruler, the high tower, and the sun. Sun is also like an explosion. Executioner and veil makes a decision secretly, does things very powerfully in secret. Sun exposed officially to the highest place. This is like blackmail, exposing at the highest place the king. And doing things very powerfully in secret. Well, Epstein is very much a blackmailer. He's blackmailing everybody. And he's exposing them. He's threatening to expose them in the highest places. I don't see drugs. These are not drugs cards, but this clearly says that Epstein is a blackmailer who would expose them in the highest places, and that's what he's doing. All right, so that picture, that is odd. If you really look at this picture, it's odd. This is a Photoshop because of the dark. That's really odd, and there's a white thing here. That doesn't belong there. Okay, and you need to use a little bit. You need to use the brush and stuff. I would have to look up how to do that. I could figure it out, but I don't know. I don't really do that generally with Photoshop pictures. But this shadow doesn't belong here on his face, and this white doesn't belong here on his pants. So it's very odd, and they're not touching. They're not actually Look, there's space between their bodies. That's really odd. And I chose this photo because it's odd, because the body language between Virginia and Andrew are odd. And now I think it's even odder, and the cards are saying that that's a Photoshop. Okay, so maybe they're framing Andrew a little bit. Okay, we did see pictures of him partying like a madman and an animal. Okay, and just crazy situations, even just in that one Twitter post. So he's doing stuff, but this looks like it's a Photoshop. Okay, so Andrew, was this interview a mistake? Well, because of the secrets and his bad reputation, he's reacting to it, and he's trying to reestablish himself as a royal. It's not wonderfully positive here. What is Andrew and Virginia's relationship? Well, she's just devastated by the past, and the people that she associated with in the past, which I asked, he says, I don't even know her. He does know her. 4 Hearts, they know each other. They ran in the same circles. There's no emotional involvement here. He was just there for sex. He would travel for sex. And that's what it says. And now the relationship between them, the contract, handcuffs is a contract in a union without emotion. That contract is now devastating to Virginia Roberts. Okay, and that relationship is broken and a devastation for her, and she has nothing but pain over her memories related to that. Okay, is this picture a Photoshop? This shows me that it is a Photoshop, and I'm seeing, the more I look at it, this is a Photoshop. Maybe Andrew is not actually in this picture with her. Maybe he's not that dumb, and All along I was saying, gosh, you're so dumb. I mean, why would you do that? But this looks like a Photoshop. This actual picture, this key piece of evidence is a Photoshop. And these cards are saying this is a Photoshop. A lot of people are involved, and constantly they're creating this particular deception that we're looking at here. And this is the famous piece of evidence. This is the key piece of evidence saying, his relationship with this underage girl. But it's a Photoshop. Look at it. The cards are saying it's a Photoshop. Look at what is this? What is this light here? What is that? What is this shadow on his face? What is that? That doesn't belong there. He's cropped out of another photo and there's a shadow on his face. That doesn't belong there. Where's the light coming from that this shadow appears like that and there's all this light here? So there's a big light behind him? That's not natural. Look how dark it is over here. That's a Photoshop. How interesting. Was Andrew drugged without his knowledge? This just says that Epstein was a big-time blackmailer, and he's going to expose these very powerful people. Epstein is in the business of deception and blackmail, and murder and torture and all kinds of illegal, illicit things. That's what he did, and he trapped his victims like a spider in a web. That's what that says. So Andrew was dumb enough, like all these poor suckers, and I don't know if we should feel sorry for them, but all these idiots who went there, Clinton and Fergie received $10 million or something from Epstein, and he's got 23 numbers. In Epstein's black book, there's 23 numbers for Fergie. Phew. He duped a lot of people. He tricked a lot of people. So, but the big bombshell here is this photo, this key piece of evidence. This is a Photoshop, and you can see it if you look carefully. It's Photoshop. Wow. Well, that's how I see it. That's your royalty today. I'm Joseph Magi, author of Playing Card Divination, Fortune Telling, the Magi Method. Find the book worldwide on Amazon and Kindle and paperback versions. Find the full color card deck used here on Etsy/Magi Method. As always, please feel free to like, share, subscribe, and comment.